Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode number 91. I actually looked down to double check to make sure I got the episode count right. It is indeed episode 91 of Mirrorless Minutes. We've got Mike here tonight, back home in the studio, and we've got a great special guest on tonight. We're really stoked to be able to do this, especially considering it is 2 a.m. where he is at currently. Welcome aboard, Thomas Ludwig, founder of Cosyspeed.
Yeah,
Thanks.
straight from Germany.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah.
Great to be on your show tonight.
Or glad to have you on.
Yeah, or morning.
Right. Yes.
Well,
what time is it in your place?
It is 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
The night is young here still.
Right. Exactly. I love it when we can take the show international, don't you, Jamie?
It's definitely a treat. It's especially a treat when people are willing to stay up outside of their normal their working hours to do the show. So it's great to have Thomas on.
Right.
So for those who don't know Thomas or the company that he runs here, Cosyspeed, they're a bag manufacturer. And if you look over my shoulder there and over Mike's shoulder, you'll see one of Thomas's products there that we'll go into a little bit more detail about that specific product in a minute. But Thomas's bags are geared towards us, the mirrorless shooters out there. So much so that when he sent these bags to us, he sent a pen, and I just have to show you guys what is emblazoned on this pen.
It's awesome.
And hopefully you can read it. Oh,
you can read it.
All right. Yep. It says, "The world belongs to mirrorless heroes."
What else?
This is a man after our hearts right here.
Perfect.
So very cool.
Yeah, I love it. It's a good play against the heroes and the Marvel heroes out there. You know, no capes, but cool bags
for sure, without a doubt. So, do you want to give us a little bit of history, Thomas, about the company? Like, what made you decide to start a bag company? I mean, who does that? You.
Yeah. So you see, it's some kind of passion on photography. So I was in working in Burundi in Africa for 2 years, from 2010 to 2012. And by this time, I bought my first mirrorless camera, which was by this time a Lumix GF1 Panasonic. And quickly after this, I bought the Olympus EPL2, I guess was the name of it. And I realized quickly that it was so much easier to do street photography with it than with my chunky DSLR.
Yeah.
And so I fell in love with the idea of mirrorless cameras. It was just amazing. I loved the colors of my Olympus, which was totally different and better what I was used to. And then in 2012, my wife and me, we went back to Germany. And I was back in Germany in the second half of 2012, and I had to find a new job. I had to do something new. And before our time in Africa, I had an advertising agency. So I'm coming from marketing, and I had a passion for photography. And so I said, well, there is this market of mirrorless cameras who starts to grow and so I thought, okay, let's jump into this market. And I had the idea of a bag for my camera, which should be as quick as a sling strap. You know, I like to get my camera very quick, but it should be protected against rain and bumps and, of course, the view of strangers. And I said, okay, we did the first prototypes. I had the idea of putting a bag on the side, on the hip. And just to tell you how I got to this idea, every time when I had a creative crisis back in the days of my marketing agency, I watched my two favorite movies. The first one was The Big Lebowski with Jeff Bridges. I watched The Big Lebowski, nothing happened. And then the second one is Unforgiven, which is a Western with Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, and Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
And there was one scene where Gene Hackman explained to someone how quick he can draw, aim, and shoot his gun. And then in this moment, I said, oh, wow, why not putting a small camera on the same place as Western heroes like Gene Hackman wears his gun. So that was the idea. And we started at this point, and when I had the first prototype and I tried it, I knew this will be a very good product. This will be a bag that works. And so we started in 2014, which is now 4 years ago. And since then, we made many product improvements. We have several models which are aimed at street photographers, at travelers. And then since last year, we have one model which is for outdoor photographers. So that's the story behind Cosyspeed and how we came into this bag business. And the design philosophy for the bags was quick one-handed access. And I think we are the only ones who developed a bag with this in mind: quick one-handed access. I think no one has it.
I don't think so either. I mean, I've seen a lot of bags for small street shooting cameras and that, but not many that have that. I mean, I've used it a lot on my trips and stuff, and I love it when I know I'm just going to have the one lens with me and maybe one other small one that I can fit in the bag at the same time. But it is so quick and then one of the improvements I think you guys made from the originals, because I think I might have gotten one in the original ones, is how that snapping lock that moves to the side. I'm bringing a special one over right now. Somebody's going to see this, and I can already see the chat room going, "Hey, what's going on with that bag? What does it say on there?" but how it snaps over to the side and locks. So even if you don't do this, you're still, it's such a quick open. Yeah. And I love your story about the Western. That's really cool. So it's our cowboy bag,
Yeah. It just works. You see, every construction worker has its tools at the hip, or the UPS man his scanner, and the waiter his money, and so on. Why? Because it's so functional. It works. It just works.
Right.
Get your gear quick in your hand. That's it.
Exactly. And I would really struggle to call that a fanny pack.
Oh, definitely not.
It's definitely not a fanny pack. It's definitely true. So tell me though, Thomas, and I know you do a lot of work with this, that you've done some really positive, like philanthropic work too with this bag, haven't you? Like gotten people out there to help some others through people that have bought this bag. Was it the South Africa, or I can't remember now, darn what country it was but if you could tell us about that.
So that was a little bit the idea behind Cosyspeed, that, I was working as a development aid worker. I saw what happens in the world.
Right.
In poor countries like in Africa. So the idea was to give a little bit of our profits to development aid projects. And so we did some projects with photographers. The last one was with Valérie Jardin. I think you know her.
I sure do.
She's a street photographer, and this is a bag she designed. For example, she's a French lady, and so she liked some stylish fabrics and so on. And so we had some special edition bags, and the profits went into development aid projects in Africa. We did one bag where the profits went into a project with refugee kids from Syria, unaccompanied refugee kids, and then stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. Giving back just something back as well. It says a lot, I think, about your company, and obviously you too. As I'm sitting there, and I'm wondering if Jamie, I gotta say it, Jamie. I'm thinking, seeing if your head's spinning like mine. I'm going, what would the Mirrorless Minutes bag look like?
Let's
that's okay. I just, just bringing it up.
Let's talk about it after the show.
All right. We need two big faces on it, right, Jamie?
I don't know. Nobody wants my face on a bag, believe me.
Me either.
It could go.
No,
It could go
I
on the
don't want
bottom.
it. Yeah.
You guys look cute.
It might sell a bag.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So,
No, it's great to hear a story like this. You know that for number one, just hearing what was in where you drew your inspiration for the design from, and listening to you talk about it. Of course, it makes sense. It makes total sense. But why it took so long for somebody to come up with that concept, and then you derive it from a Western movie of all things, and then the company gets rolling, becomes successful enough to where you can start giving back to people who are definitely not in the position to own a bag like that, you know. So I'm just floored to have you on. This is totally humbling to have you on. So
thank you.
Again, I just want to say thank you one more time.
Thanks to you. So kind. So, you know, that was the same what I was thinking. I had this first prototype which worked, and I said, why the hell no one else had this idea before? It's so simple. It's just so simple to have your camera here on the side. And but it's great. It's much more and more people are exploring our bags and like it and share it and talk to others. And
this is my first exposure to the bag. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to work with me, because I shoot a little differently than I'm assuming the two of you do. I know Mike for sure probably isn't, you know, trekking through the woods as much as I am maybe, but it's going to be nice to, like this past weekend, I went out shooting with some friends and we explored some abandoned train cars and abandoned factory, and we're out in the countryside, abandoned farmhouses. So it was not street shooting per se, but the whole time I went with the mindset of one camera body with one lens attached, and I did that. So this, I think, it's gonna help me when I go on those adventures like that, where I just want to scale back. I want to just take the essentials that I need to shoot, in addition to going out, you know, and doing more urban shooting. But when I get out into the countryside, I don't always want to take a ton of gear with me. I just want to scale back, enjoy my time out there. And I think that this is going to make it a little bit easier, because I'm not dealing with a shoulder bag bouncing off my side the whole time I'm walking. It'll just be sitting right there on my hip. So I'm pretty excited to use this.
So, and I'm gonna throw something at you, Thomas. I don't know if you've checked this out, and now Jamie will be interested now too. So I just pulled off my case for my drone, which I know Jamie has right now, the Mavic Air, and it fits perfectly in the bag. So now I'm thinking I got a drone case. If I am carrying a backpack into the woods, I got my drone case, and I probably can fit the controller right on top.
Your quick draw drone bag.
Yeah, there you go. So just in case you're flying a drone around New York City when you're shooting,
I think you're reaching a market you weren't even considering initially, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, I know there are some people having their drones in a cam slinger. I mean, you know, the concept is called cam slinger, which comes from gunslinger, which relates to the Western story I told you. And I know there are some having their Mavic Pro in the Street-O-Matic Plus, which is the largest model we have, and it works pretty well.
Oh, that's right, because you do have a little bit of a larger one. I know when we were talking before the show, do you have some other ones to show some of the viewers? They would. Yes. I'm positive they would love to see it.
I can do that. First of all, maybe I can show in a minute how the concept works.
Yeah, that would be great too.
So the bags
just don't, you know, take a picture of us. No.
So the bags are firstly designed to wear it at the hip, but you can wear it as a sling bag as well. Just put the belt in the longest position, and here you go with a sling bag.
Yeah,
and I think I should wait. I will move my computer, my iPad, a little bit.
Okay.
And I can show you how it works at the hip. Wait.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So if you wear it at the hip, like I do right now, you see, you have it here. This is the Street-O-Matic Plus, which is our largest model. Here I have a bag for my phone. So all the time I'm walking around, I can grab my phone. I have a bag here. for spare batteries or whatever you need. And here comes the magic. You need just one hand and 1 second, and pull your camera out. You see, I have the Pan F inside here, and that's how it works.
That was not set up, everyone. Okay.
1 hand, 1 second, grab your camera. And then when we had when we had the first prototypes, it worked very well, but we had the problem that you need the second hand for the camera strap or for a wrist strap.
Right.
So then I said, oh, well, we have a camera bag, 1 hand, 1 second, that works pretty well, but you need a second hand. So then we invented this little finger strap. I don't know if you can see it. So that means the moment you grab your camera in the bag, just slip your index finger through it, grab your cam, and it cannot fall down. So you don't need a second hand for the camera strap or the wrist strap.
And I'm going to tell you, everyone that's watching, if you haven't used it, you'll look at it and you'll say, that doesn't work. Come on. And I'm telling you, I used that, Thomas, for 3 straight days in San Francisco on a workshop. I loved it, you know, and because I like wrist straps to begin with, but believe it or not, on the Pen F with that little thing, I mean, it really felt strong. And it was simple, and you didn't have a lot of stuff hanging from you, which was nice. Hey, on that cell phone thing, does that have that same piece? Like I'm holding up mine. It's where you put your thing in and you pull up. Like
that's a feature you have only with the one bag you have.
Oh, okay. This is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is awesome. I'm pulling it up and it goes up really slow, like it was like motorized.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
That's a feature with the Olympus bag you guys have. I don't have it. You have mine.
Okay.
It's a Mirrorless Minutes exclusive, folks.
Yes. Oh my gosh, is this thing cool? And it's just a darn strap that it's like the thing that would pull batteries out of like a clock that they would leave there.
It's funny because when I first took the bag out, I was looking at it, and I put my phone in it, and I thought, what is this? And I start pulling on it, and then the phone just magically starts to slide up, and I thought, wow, is this what it's supposed to do? Because this is incredibly cool.
And it's a single piece of material.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So, that was how it works. These are some different models. This is the Street-O-Matic Plus, which is the biggest, the largest one we have.
Right.
This is the Camslinger Outdoor. We developed it with a climber from Switzerland.
Oh, wow.
Who was using our bags for quite some time. And he said, okay, we just have to adapt it to my needs and when I'm out in the Alps. And he likes it very much because he said, when I'm in the Alps climbing, I can hold myself with the left hand, but I can make a photo with the right hand. And no bag can offer me this. And so we have this one, and I can show you a prototype. It's exclusive, a world first. The model will also come in 2 months or so in the color of olive.
Ooh, that's nice. You got a bag
because
like that,
there are
Jamie.
many people. I don't know how do people. How is the word for people working in the forest? I don't know the English word for it.
Forestry department,
ranger,
or
ranger, stuff like that. So there are many people
Smoking
having their binoculars in a Camslinger bag. You know, when you're out in the forest, you have your binocular in a Camslinger bag, and they said, "Oh, we need it in different colors." So there's a new one. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So we've got somebody in the chat room who's asking if there's a difference in the women's bag to the regular ones. Is it just a fabric? And I know Valerie's had a different clasp mechanism on hers, right?
Yeah, that's a different clasp mechanism. You see, this one is a more classic looking, retro looking bag. It's a little bit smaller and it has a different clasp.
Okay.
But the concept is the same. You know,
Right.
the concept is the same. I don't know. There is nothing in here.
Yeah, it's a little fancier snap, you know.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I know Brian. What's Brian at? I'm looking at what Brian's
So
asking
I
there.
think Brian is asking if I'm going to assume the largest bag. If that one, if you would know if it's large enough to hold an EM1 Mark II with a 12 to 40 on it. So I guess Mike's going to simulate for us.
Yeah, I am. I just grabbed it off the shelf. So big. Yeah, ours. And this is the smaller one, right? Am I saying that right, Thomas?
That's
right. So it fits real well. In fact, a little bit room on the sides because you've got a couple dividers that come with it.
There you go, Brian.
That you could slide. Well, I know you could slide the 14 to 42 EZ down there for sure, and the body cap.
Nice.
Fisheye. Or
if you have, for example, the 12 to 100 door, and the EM1, I would use the Street-O-Matic Plus or the outdoor bag.
Yeah.
This one, and you can use it with this large lens.
Wow.
Right.
And that's maybe pretty much all you need when you're out hiking or traveling.
Definitely is. Yeah. Wow, that's cool. That's very good to know because that kind of goes with my whole philosophy of wanting to get out with one body, one lens, and just have fun with the day. So that's very cool.
Yeah, if you had to squeeze it in, I just got the EM Mark II with the 12 to 100 in there.
Holy smokes!
It fits in. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in, I think the Plus might be a better option.
Yeah,
but it fits. You couldn't fit your drone in that. Okay, so we're just gonna have to, I'll have to say that. So those are those.
Do you know these situations when you don't take a picture because you don't like to put your backpack down, grab for your camera, take the picture, and your wife is doesn't like it? Do you know that?
I think you're talking about my vacation coming up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, probably Jimmy might have that around the corner here.
Yeah, this definitely it doesn't slow down the process at all. You know what I mean? You can just, and it's not obvious that you're a photographer if you've got this on your hip. You know what I mean? If you're, especially in an urban setting, if you're downtown San Francisco, London, wherever, it doesn't matter. You've just got this small innocuous pouch on your hip, and it's just like that. It's flipped open, the camera's in your hand, you're shooting, the camera's back in your bag, and you're going again. I like that.
And this is just is that a little rain pouch, right?
Yeah, it's a rain pouch. So all the fabrics we are using are high quality fabrics, and you can go through rain. That's not a problem. I've used the rain cover only once, and that was in northern Germany, and there was rain like crazy, and there was no possibility to find a dry place. So I pulled it on my bag, but you wouldn't need it on a normal day when you're in the city or there's a rain. You wouldn't need it.
Nice, very cool. So we've got some photos, and because Thomas is working from an iPad, he's vacationing right now, so we're interrupting that in case you missed that announcement earlier. So he can't do a screen share the way we typically would. So what we're gonna do is, I've got Thomas's photos on my computer. I'm gonna start the screen share and let Thomas kind of guide us through those. If that's something you want to do, share some of your work. I mean, it's a photography show,
great.
So
all
right, cool.
Great to share.
All right, so what I'm going to do for anybody watching, everybody's going to look like they're kind of disappearing on us, but they're not. I'm just actually going to I'm going to share Thomas's photos here, and I'll let him kind of narrate everything. So there we have the first image up, and I'll let Thomas speak to that. Okay, hold. All right, 1 second here, Thomas. Sorry. I guess when I guess when I hide your video, it also mutes you to everybody else.
Ah, okay.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna leave the picture up here. Everybody got to see this photo. So then I'll just let you go ahead and continue talking about that photo. How about that? Sorry about that.
Okay.
So you can go ahead if you want to continue talking about that. Sorry.
Okay. So that photo was made in Africa. You know, I was living there for some years and working there. So I made a lot of street photos in Africa. So this is, let me say, one part of my work. And when you're doing street photography in Africa, you can do it with a mirrorless camera. You can't do stuff like that with a DSLR because as a white guy in Africa, it's pretty difficult. And then if you have a big chunky DSLR, it doesn't work. But with a mirrorless, it works.
Very
So
good.
if you switch to the next one, maybe.
All right, here's the next one.
So this one I made in London, and I like to do slow shutter speeds, especially when I'm in gritty places. I like to go to gritty places and do some street photography there, but you wouldn't want to show people's faces. So I found that a combination of some gritty places and then slow shutter speeds makes it very interesting. Yeah. And then the next one, this is a portrait. I like to approach people on the streets and ask them for a portrait, which is the contrast to my slow shutter speeds in gritty places. So I like to ask people for a portrait, like this lady that was also in London, and I don't know when it was, last year or so. And if you go to the next one, I explored the double exposure function on my camera, and so that's also something I like. This is a double exposure photo, and that's just fun. It's just fun.
Cool.
Yeah, I gotta pipe in. That's fantastic because I love that that double exposure. It's not used enough.
No, and I'll tell
you
you
get
what,
caught up in it and you can't stop.
man, and I'll say this over and over again. I just do not have the vision to do that. I have tried so hard to use double exposure, and I cannot make anything compelling whatsoever. So it's always exciting to see somebody that takes advantage of that. Very cool.
So the photo you see here is not by me. It's a promo photo from Olympus Europe. So 1.5 years ago, Olympus Europe approached us. And I know some of the guys working at Olympus in Europe using our bags. And there was this guy, Thomas Ludwig, I think you know him.
Oh yeah,
From Switzerland, who was an Olympic visionary in Europe. But I don't know. I think he stopped photography at all. I don't know. But he was using our bags for quite some time, and then some guys at Olympus Europe used our bags, and so they approached me and said, "Hey, let's make an Olympus edition of your bag." And this is the Olympus Street-O-Matic bag you can see on the photo, and we released it just 3 weeks ago. In the moment, you can buy it only in Europe. It's not yet available in the US, and I don't know how long it will take. That's something Olympus has to decide and to do. It's not my decision.
Okay, I've got a question about that. Is so if it's for sale only in Europe, can somebody buy in Europe and have it shipped to the States, or is that not an option? Do you know?
You can do that, but you cannot buy it on the official Olympus online shop.
Right, but they can go to your website though, right, and purchase it.
You cannot buy it on my web on the Cosyspeed website. We have an online shop, and we have one in the US, but that's not possible.
Gotcha.
But you can buy it from I don't know if it is on Amazon. I'm not sure if Olympus put it on Amazon, but there are some retailers in Germany and all over Europe and UK.
Okay.
They have it.
Okay.
And
very
I think
cool.
that's possible. Yeah.
All right. And then the next one.
Yeah.
Very cool. This bag is awesome.
Yeah, that was it was a great honor to us. You see, we are a company 4 years old, and then Olympus approached us. I know Olympus will become 100 years old next year, so it's definitely one of the camera makers with the longest tradition.
Yeah.
And they're doing great, iconic cameras. If you see the Pen F from the 60s, and if you hold the Pen F from today, you see, I have it here. I simply love it. I love it, love it, love it. And so it's just an honor for us. And it's just amazing that they came to us and asked us to do something for them. And there is a little label on the belt and it's written "Made by Cosyspeed." So
yeah,
it's just amazing. It's just amazing.
I have a quick question going back to the first photo of yours that we looked at, the gentleman riding the bike. What were you using a vintage lens or something when you shot that? I'm just kind of curious. I love the look that has to it.
That was made with an it was an let me think about it. It was a Nikon lens, a 51.4.
Okay.
I think AFD or so. I don't know. I forgot all the stuff as I'm shooting just mirrorless.
Yeah, it's easy to forget quickly. I know I have. But I tell you that one with the sex shop.
That's a cool idea.
That's exactly a great idea because you take those pictures, you're going to be really ticking people off if they're going to be mad. Yeah, if you got their face clear. But that's and it's nice and clear, of course, on that neon. It's a great idea.
And you can do that. You can do that with an Olympus. It's so easy.
Oh yeah,
you can go down to 1 second. You won't even see anyone on the photo.
Right.
That's great. It's so much fun. I was some days ago. I had a little photo walk with a guy from Israel who was visiting me at in Bonn, the place where I'm living in Germany. And he is a Leica shooter, so he had his Leica M. And then he saw what I was doing with my Pen F and the long exposure possibilities because of the IBIS, and he was blown away. And he was looking at his Leica and he said, "What's this?"
I hope Lou is watching. One of my best friends is a Leica shooter, and Jamie and I are always picking on him. So Lou just needs one of those bags. That's all.
Yeah, we'll convert him.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So we're kind of at the end of the show here. And I don't want to end the show without you just throwing out where people can find you on social media. We'll add it to the show notes. But for those who are watching live right now, if you just want to tell people how they can find you online, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So if you want to discover Cosyspeed, my company, go to cosyspeed.com. And you can find all the information. And there's also a sub page with the Olympus bag. And then we're on Instagram. If you go to Cosyspeed on Instagram, you can find us on Instagram. And if you want to have a look in my personal work, you can find me on Instagram with Tom Kamslinger. I'm called Tom Kamslinger. And I have an account on SmugMug. So if you go to SmugMug, Tom Kamslinger, you will find my work from Africa and from other places.
Very cool. That's awesome. Well, cool. Well, I guess I'll hit the big red stop broadcast button here, and we can let you get back to rest and enjoying the rest of your vacation.
Yeah,
and again,
thank you very much.
I can't say it enough. We're so thankful that you came on the show tonight and got to share not only your whole line of products, but this one that just kind of came out just now. I know that it's drawing a lot of interest in the chat room right now. So hopefully we can figure out a way to get these over here to some people in the States. But everybody keep your eyes peeled for those to potentially maybe way over here.
Exactly.
So good night, Thomas. Again, it was great for you to stay up and chat with us.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, guys. It was so great to be on your show tonight. Thank you very much.
For sure. All right. And everybody, you'll see us in 2 weeks. And don't forget, check out the show notes for links to all of not only Thomas's private work and personal work, but also to the whole Cosyspeed empire that he's building over there in Europe. So you guys take care, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right. See ya.
Thanks.